We have been getting a lot of rain in North Texas, and that rain has allowed my garden to explode with growth, but it also presents several problems. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how I stop wasps from making a home on the patio. I'm going to also share with you how the rain caused a little pest pressure because I couldn't get out when it was continuously raining for several days. I couldn't get out and examine the garden like I wanted to. And I'm going to show you what else. Oh, I know what I'm doing ahead of schedule to fight the heat in my garden, and something that's going to keep me from going up and down the steps to check on the garden. And I'm also going to show you how you keep your roses continuously blooming throughout the whole season. Okay, let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I hope you will see something in the video that will motivate you, or perhaps you learn something and you will subscribe to my channel. And if you know anybody that needs to be inspired by a soon-to-be 72-year-old grandmother that has been gardening for 40 years, please share my video. It's been raining a lot, guys, so this is the first day I have to set up the umbrella on the patio, and I saw a wasp nest. Let me step back so you can see what I'm talking about. You see the umbrella that I lit up so I could sit down here and watch my tomatoes grow? Anyway, I see a wasp nest right there, and wasps flying all around it. Those are not bees, they're wasps, so I'm gonna put some neem oil spray on them. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. Yeah, then I'll get a broom and knock it down. There is the wasp nest or home, and these are the fighting kind of wasps. I would not kill them because wasps can pollinate your vegetables and fruit too. Trust me, these are the ones that attack you. I'm trying to catch the wasp. I just want you to see that they miss their home and they're coming back up under this umbrella. And every time I pick up my phone to videotape, they fly off. But they're gonna keep coming back to this area, especially when I let the umbrella down at night, because we have high winds in Texas, and those winds can, even though it's anchored with a heavy umbrella weight, the winds will still pick these umbrellas up. Here's another one. I'm not going to spray it. As long as it doesn't come close to me, I'm not going to spray it. I just want you all to see that. But if they start buzzing close to me, I'm going to spray. It's really comfortable out here now. Now let me show you how I keep these double knockout roses blooming for most of the year. Don't forget to deadhead your roses, especially after it rains and the petals fall off. You want to keep these blooming all summer. And if you're new to my channel, these double knockout roses will bloom even after temperatures get below freezing. They didn't stop blooming until we had a 12-degree temperature. And you see, I'm just moving along. And there's some wasps flying around here, but they're not trying to attack me. And those are not the ones that I'm concerned about. Just the ones that were trying to build a nest in my patio umbrella. And you can't blame them. They're taking refuge from the rain. And while I'm showing you this, let me share with you, my son-in-law said, "Why your roses are so pretty? And you got new ones. This is a new one. And this is a new one, and it's blooming already." And I told him, because I told you guys to put your used coffee grounds and your banana peels in your pots. And he started doing that, and sure enough, they started to bloom more. I noticed it yesterday. Okay, so I think I've got all of these. Maybe a couple more I can take off. Yeah, this one too. Just deadhead them, and they will produce more blooms. You signal to the roots that those are spent and we need to produce some more. Okay, looking good. I mentioned that I couldn't come out all the time unless I wanted to get soaked while it was raining. But as I was inspecting the garden today, I noticed I had some pest pressure. And I'm going to show you what it is and what I do to treat it. I accidentally knocked this pepper off of this plant, but while I'm over here, let's see if we got any more. We see a lot of flowers, but these plants, they were brought out here before I brought the other ones out, and you can see this plant is growing really well. And don't you see what's crawling on my wrist? Those, ladies and gentlemen, are aphids. So I got some spraying to do. I'm looking up under here to see if the aphids came from this plant. Yep, there they go. You see them? You see the little eggs? Sneak back up. Those are aphids. Those are aphid eggs. And here are some more. Can you see them? Let me go closer. Let me focus. Yep, I got attacked. So I'm getting ready to spray all in here. Because see, that's another one right there crawling on me. Guys, it is really too hot for me to be spraying these plants, but because it's late afternoon, I'm going to take a chance. See that? I'm not going to let this take over my plants. And check this out. You notice it's not on the top of the leaves. It's on the underside. That's where they lay their eggs. So I'm going to spray this real good. There are some more. Yeah, I'm going to just take my time and spray really, really well. Now, I was going to put the formula for my spray that I use on the whole garden. I was going to put that on in the comment section, but I decided to just include it right now. And I'll insert a picture of the pure cold pressed neem oil that I get from Amazon. That's the first ingredient. And then the second ingredient, you can use dish soap. I use a killing insect soap that's organic, and the neem oil, by the way, is organic, and then water. I don't give out a formula. I put about a half an ounce in a 32-ounce spray bottle. I fill it up almost all the way, and then I add a few drops of dish soap or insect killing soap, and that allows the spray to stick or adhere to the plant leaves and act as a preventative measure. Now, the first thing I did was I drenched the top of the leaves, and then I pulled the leaves back because I knew they would try to crawl, like you can see this right here. Then I pulled the leaves back and got all up under here. And there, I mean, it's a lot of aphid eggs here. And what I'm going to do now is wait a few minutes. The sun is coming back out. You know how it goes in and out. It's coming back out. I don't want to burn up my plants. I'm going to now rinse it really good with a strong force of water. Never seen an aphid eating on an actual pepper. I just see them sucking the juice. They cling onto them and suck the juice out of the leaves. And that will slow down your progress of how many peppers that you are able to harvest. So now I'm just going to blast them. And I may lose some flowers. I may lose a few peppers. But I got to do what I got to do. And I'm shaking the phone. I'm sorry. And if you can catch the eggs right when they hatch, and you don't see any aphids crawling around, you can just destroy those eggs by drowning them with a strong force of water. I'm going to put the phone down so I can really get them, guys. I blasted them really good with water. You can see the moisture. They looking a little beat up, but they'll be okay. I'll come back tomorrow and I'll show you the progress. And I looked under the leaves of all of the eggplant. I didn't see anything. So I think it's okay. And I also drowned these two plants over here. What I'm going to show you next is what I do to get ready for very hot temperatures in Mesquite, Texas. I don't wait until it gets 100 degrees. I start putting up my safety precautions right away. And what I'm going to show you now is a thermometer that is digital, that I can have the thermometer upstairs in my bedroom and have a sensor down in the garden, and I can read the temperature at all times. I used to get the kind that where you had 3 or 4 different stations, but they didn't last as long. And I noticed when I just have one station to the thermometer, they last much longer. So I can put one in a shady area of the garden, and then I can put the other one in the most sunniest area of the garden. And this really helps me out as a senior citizen that takes dialysis 3 times a week. The steps kind of get me, so I try to stay off the steps as much as I possibly can. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here is the sensor for this one, and you can see it has yellowed because it was out in the sun for a couple years. And this is the new one. And Bria and I put this yarn on here, and I'm going to attach one to my chair right over there for that area, because that area gets more shade in the morning. And then I'm going to put one over here where my chair is, and then I'm going to wait a few minutes, and I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to show you the difference in the temperature. So there's the first sensor. That's the old one. And let me walk over to where the new one is. And here is the new one. Now I'm going to wait a few minutes and I'm going to check the thermometer. Okay, so it's been about half an hour, and you can see now where the sensors are sitting, it's 90 degrees. Yep, in the sun it's 90 degrees. Up under this umbrella, it's only 81 degrees. Now I'm going to take the thermometers upstairs and show you that they are synced, and it's going to be much cooler in my room, and this will let you know that it works. It's been several hours, and I want to show you that it is 73 degrees in my bedroom, and the humidity is 75, and that's because I have a lot of houseplants and humidifiers. They grow better in a tropical climate. Now outside it is 77 degrees in both areas of the garden. One area the humidity is 49%, and the other area is 48%. And as long as it is below 50, that is great. If you remember, it was cooler under the umbrella on the patio. So just like it's cooler under the umbrella, very soon I will be putting my shade cloth on my garden, and it'll be cooler under the shade cloth. And my thermometers will let me know what the temperature is. And what I really like about using these thermometers is the fact that in the winter time, when I'm concerned about freezing temperatures, I can relax and know that it is not below freezing, or if I need to put on frost cloth or plastic over my garden. I learned a lot from the old timers, especially my grandparents, but I also know that we have more modern technology that can help us have successful gardens. And I was going to tell you one more thing, but I'll be 72 soon and I don't remember. Oh, I remember now. When temperatures get over 95 degrees, I will bring out my solar-powered fans, and I'll share that with you guys in the future. It's the next day, and I want to show you that this container didn't have any evidence of aphids or aphid eggs, but I sprayed it very well because I know from experience that aphids will attack Swiss chard. So I covered this really, really good with my spray. Now, let's go over here. This is the eggplant. I didn't see any evidence of aphids or eggs, but I sprayed it as well. Very good. Now, you remember yesterday when I stopped filming this container that has a lot of pepper plants in it? It's actually 4. This was leaning over because I blasted it with water and spray. And I'm just making sure I don't see anything. And I see a little egg right there. And that's okay because it's getting ready to rain. And you have to treat this several times before you get it all, okay? But before they get out of hand, I'll be right back out here tomorrow when I get a break in the rain. And I will be treating this whole area in here again. But let me share something else with you that I'm getting ready to do. I shared with you guys in a previous video that I use ground cayenne pepper as a deterrent. Because all of those eggs that I blasted off, if any of them didn't drown, I'm sprinkling a little cayenne pepper all around here because the rain is going to wash this all down. And the eggs can't survive the pepper. It does something to them. So this is just another precaution. Now, you can make this up and put it in a solution, let it dissolve, add just a drop of dish soap so it can stick to the leaves, and you don't have to worry about the rain washing it off. I'm just going to apply it dry because I know the rain is coming. The forecast is rain all day long. So I'm just putting a little bit more, and that's it. I put just a little bit over here where there weren't any aphids, just to get that cayenne pepper in the soil. The insects like to hop sometimes from one container to another. And I want you to know I didn't see any evidence on the squash, the cucumbers, the zucchini, or the watermelon. And while I'm over here, let me show you. I have 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm waiting to get 6. So once I see 2 more, okay, 7. Let me see if anything back here. Once I get a few more, I will start trimming the vines and stop production of more melons. And I'm just going to concentrate on the 8 or the 9. That's great for this small garden. And I'll show you that we've got more cucumbers that we're going to harvest in a few days. And I'm going to make, there's 2 back there. There's 2 over here. I'm going to make pickle relish out of this next batch. Okay, everybody, this concludes my vlog for today. It's getting ready to rain, so I got to run quickly. But I just want to say that I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're new, I hope you would like it and subscribe. And if you are on any social media platforms, help this old lady reach a lot of people by sharing my video. And every time that I close, I like to let you know, if you've forgotten, that I love you and God loves you too. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye now.